Since my last devlog, which covered a major boop update with breeding, genetics, and new pattern styles, I've been continuing to work on the game, primarily weaving a narrative through the whole game with dialogue-driven cutscenes. Most of what I've been working on lately has been a direct response to a streamer who I had the privilege of watching play Bun. At the start of 2022, Bun joined a one-day event called Demospree, where Twitch streamers played various demos and got some invaluable feedback from the streamer playing my demo, something I had yet to see. Watching an experienced gamer who isn't me navigate the menus and worlds for the first time gave me a couple really important realizations of things that had to change. For one, he expected collectibles to be permanently removed from the game once collected.
Okay, yeah, definitely demo here because these should not be respawning.
This is something I considered a few times and even talked about during development, but always decided against, figuring that collectibles respawning when you visit a level would be more fun, since you always have something to collect. After watching him play, I realized that a scarcity of collectibles pushes people to keep playing and visit the next level. 2. The game isn't as controller-friendly as I thought.
It does not appear to acknowledge my controller at... Okay, it does, it just doesn't show the buttons. Yeah, the camera doesn't fade into movement.
The streamer expected the camera to do more and didn't look for the sensitivity slider, so he ended up playing with a keyboard and mouse. To fix this, I think I need a new controller-only camera controller script with a much smoother, more sensitive look. I also decided that I would redesign the pause menu to be better looking and more controller-friendly. And 3. The game lacked explicit objectives. Being dropped into the hub world added to the mystery, but confusion can turn to frustration very quickly. Like I sketched out a couple devlogs ago, the game now introduces you to a hatted, Bun-like figure who admits they summoned the meteor, trying to get Bun's attention but instead blowing up their means of getting home. This character then shows up in key areas to sort of guide Bun and explain game mechanics alongside the story. So what did I do with this feedback? For one, I added collectible impermanence. For collectibles to disappear permanently after they've been collected, I have to keep track of every single collectible for every level and serialize it so I can save and load from a file. This was pretty daunting at first, but it was time for me to update how I saved level progress anyway. So what I ended up doing is making a level data class that stores whether this level has been unlocked, visited, and completed, as well as a Boolean array to store collectible states. To make as versatile a feature as possible, I made a component called Impermanence that I can slap on any game object. In Awake, all impermanent objects get an ID assigned that corresponds with the Boolean array in level data. Then when they're collected, we flip the switch to mark them as collected in the save system. The next time the level is loaded, the impermanent object checks itself against the Boolean array and destroys itself if it's already been flagged as collected. And with that in place, I have a fully functioning impermanence system. Playing the game with this in place, it's already apparent that there's an increased sense of agency in having collected things, revisiting the place, and seeing your impact on the world persist. It's like the inverse of persisting enemy corpses, like JW talks about in The Art of Screen Shake.
Permanence. This is something super important. Like, why leave the fucking battle empty after it's over? Like, now I'm here saying, hey, look, I killed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dudes. There was combat here.
It gives the player something to look at and say, I did this. I had this impact on the world. There were collectibles here, and now they're not. As I mentioned earlier, I made a new pause menu. To make the game feel more controller-friendly and polished, I decided to redesign the pause menu. Taking inspiration from the work David RB just did for his game Arcadian Rift, I made a simple vignette menu that slides out from the left and takes up about a third of the screen. There we have the Bun logo, a version identifier, and pause menu buttons that change color and slide out when moused over or selected with a controller. Since the right 2/3 of the screen are left blank, I decided that any menus that dig deeper will slide out from the right, which I soon ended up doing for settings and credits. And control remapping. I added some nice hover and selection effects and sound effects for the panels moving and the buttons clicking. The settings menu isn't quite ready yet since I'm still working through making controller navigation good and adding control remapping, which is almost working but not quite. And then, since I was going to be adding a lot more dialogue, I decided it was time to sort of refine how I handle dialogue at a technical level. Oh, also, since I ditched the beveled gray UI elements in the pause menu, I updated the dialog box to have a sort of dark paint stroke as a background, which looks a lot cleaner. I also had to change how dialogue was stored, since putting it in scripts in the component where it's being used is definitely not ideal. Instead, I made a dialogue scriptable object, so dialogue now exists as one asset per character. By which I mean game character, not like single character of text. When I'm ready to add more languages, I can just store them in the same scriptable object and have one place in the settings menu that dictates what language is pulled into dialogue. And since it's the start of a new year, I figured I would take another look at getting the community involved in Bun's development. To give you guys more insight and input into the development of Bun, I've decided to publicize the codec that I've been using to manage my work on the project. Now you have the power to suggest new features and vote on the priority of existing ones, all from a nice card-based interface. You can click the link in the description to check it out, or join our Discord and head to the feedback channel where you can add your suggestions directly to the deck by typing !idea. The top suggesters go to the top of the leaderboards, which are posted every week. I'll try my best to fill this codec out with anything I'm working on so that you guys can show me what you think of it. I also wanted to take a moment in this video to talk about how Bun's marketing has been going. Since Steam Next Festival, which gave us a big boost in wishlists, we've gotten essentially no new ones, most likely because I haven't posted much of anything anywhere. Steam pages, in theory, should generate a steady number of wishlists just by being out there, so I'll take that as a sign that I need to update the trailer and spruce up the Steam page a bit, and hopefully we can get some passive wishlists. Also, I would say about this time last year was the peak of my devlog success, which consistently fell off through the course of the year as my posts got more infrequent. Since this YouTube channel is my social media channel with the biggest following, I'm going to continue to focus on posting videos more frequently, hence these VFX graph tutorials I made, and making these devlogs as interesting as possible, so hopefully you guys will continue to wishlist the game and maybe even buy it when it comes out. I think that's where I'll end it here. Remember to wishlist Bun and subscribe and bell, and yeah, peace.